that was quite the adventure, getting all the audio stuff. I guess on the off chance that somebody's doing the live stream goes down, we just finally got our audio fixed and set up, and we are going to start some of these candidate conversations. My name is Katie Chris. I'm a candidate running for council here in Helena, and this is my good friend Clinton McKay. Alright, so tell us a little bit about your story. Why did you decide to run?
The biggest thing is people need or
I'm gonna try YouTube. Since it's you can hear it on YouTube.
What are some of those ideas? What are some of the issues that you're most passionate about and hopes to make a difference in?
my biggest thing is property taxes.
But it's YouTube. The same. It's
It's I think like property taxes, property.
see how we're not getting any.
Right, if the government can tax you out of your home, do you really own it, or are you just paying rent to the government?
So some person judging about
Picking up sound.
judgment based on the work.
Something else is picking up sound. Oh,
The
Yeah. So, what are some of the practical steps that you see that we can take to help lower the burden of these taxes?
For starters, I would do to lower the property tax, lower income tax, increase at least with a sales tax. It's easier for somebody to sit back, hold on to their money, and spend taxes. Or if they're not in financial burden, they can hold on to their money. They deal with that. Second, the sales tax will also generate from tax-free touring. Having sales tax. You could say it's not the right term, but social capital we are subsidized through our
Yeah. So I know property taxes. Well, I guess I know the idea of adding a sales tax can be controversial. I've heard Montanans wouldn't want it. I've also heard people say Montanans would. What are your thoughts on some of that statistic? I'm sure you've been out talking to voters that have. In your conversation, are they pretty favorable with that idea?
I've heard people out there sales tax is a long and proper trade-off with it. Other people like some don't want sales tax. I've also heard
Right.
this is
Whatever you want. You gotta carry it out.
now sales tax. Property tax.
The worst thing we take out we could put in place to try and make sure that it doesn't become another avenue.
Safeguards, I would prefer to focus first, reduce the taxes,
And is that reducing them to a specific point or just in general?
in general. That's what I mean. Ideally.
Yeah.
Same thing for free.
Well, it would be unconstitutional. The Montana state constitution doesn't allow for a property tax that would work. So we would need a constitutional amendment. And then, my personal opinion is I would be all for a sales tax if we completely get rid of property tax. I'm not at all, or I will not support authorizing third avenue or a third main avenue of taxation unless we can continually know for sure that it will pay off. Otherwise, I'm worried it's just open to go.
So in our case, we probably have to push for something. Correction. We did that in the past.
About the property tax, or
Yeah.
sales tax?
Yes. Is that a?
I'm not actually sure about. Uh, funny enough, for those of you watching who may not know, we've had several constitutional amendments to the state constitution in the past. They're difficult to get through, but it actually happened. So that kind of leads us into another thing. What are some of your thoughts on some of the constitutional initiatives that you've seen? In the past, it was the one that enshrined the right to abortion in our state constitution. This year, we've been dealing with initiatives like GI 132, your transparent elections initiative, your nonpartisan judicial race initiative. What are your thoughts on some of those?
I get married one because a lot of them are malicious and extremes. I would say there's a process of field of words. For example, the last set of Constitution initiatives, we mentioned
Yeah.
that was short-sighted. It's going to solve shoot. I'm going to tell you. For example. Sounds good. Oh, judges on Did you say? Party or actually are fair. So first, we need to be able to be available, so we know where they general, and then so that the voters who don't have the time to look for every judge and rely on trusted party. Maybe they don't have the time to sit there. Full-time job. You go to each website, do the judge, then go through and look at the previous rulings on the judge that you did voted on.
Right. If the judge says something on the website, it doesn't know when they get down to what it stands for.
Yeah.
To really find out where they fall into the a lot of judicial precedent. And those can be buried in the system to say the least.
Yes. And like if you don't have the time to rely on the trust networks, which party really trust our party, PBLC.
Which is ironic that you end up in the end trusting what a party might say or support about a judge, and the whole idea of it is that they're not going to put party. That is
It is interesting, but in the end, I don't think it's interesting. But again, we are biased.
Right.
No matter how we try to not be biased, we have our opinions. So same applies for judges. So their feelings.
Let's see, what are some other issues that you would like to take a look at? or that you start voting to control the
Personally, from my perspective, watching rent double 2015. I mean, they really took off like the open that leads documents to that happen. So I know a lot of people are still not happy about those prices. Now I've heard the other comparisons which is relative to so it's her rent is cheap. Right? People that kind of good at seven all hundred that rent. You know, everything's expensive. Yeah, we have all these massive housing stuff popping up everywhere. You know, you have the one in Street Street. Go. And rates are still $1,600 for just a two-bedroom. It's very expensive. I mean, I personally, so, from what I've seen, additional price. And then when I'm gonna go back to the one building. With all these rings, it's difficult to get those apartment units in the Montanans. We've only got the pull up so I've heard from back 30-40% now. And the minimum is not too bad. Even with that. They're really expensive. They're always talking about renting. Yeah, we are built apartments and still make it difficult for people to find a place. So, that bothers me.
yeah. Well, it does kind of boil down to what is the end goal, right? Is the end goal to buy a house limit, or is it the just hop back and forth between this apartment and that one, and make enough to get from one paycheck to another, you know? Well, it's like, you know, lowering the bar for what the goal is.
Yeah, that is true. Because before it was higher, a lot of Montanans ideally should be able to buy a house.
But
House on the family, but forever renting because you can't afford a house due to the raises. There's no or happening like that.
one interesting thing related to the housing market is just the fact that a little while back is over the past 2 years, 35% of the cost increase in housing has been mostly legal. So that was a very interesting statistic. And that could be kind of diving down a rabbit hole there. Uh, but you know, when it comes to the housing market, a lot of those prices are based on supply and right economic. I think there's other things that play the restrictions that make that not as great of a reflection of economy because that I would say anytime the government starts to start to become more involved in the free market, I mean, actually, they're going to start seeing this continuity. But I just think it's really interesting that they like talk about to so what do you thoughts on this?
I wouldn't be surprised if that data the combination of the information and
This was I believe this was actually uh, I thought it was a statewide, which was the nationwide. And I would say that it's probably less affected overall by the inflation. And have a feeling I'm not entirely sure how that statistic ends up being contributed, but it's definitely.
I mean, if you want to, England, double the population.
Okay, watch out, watch where you're going.
So what you're saying, I don't know, is not
Yeah.
because continuing. Well, let's go with that. Let's see, there's 2 or 3%. Let's say have million potentially bring help. Yeah, that's not 2 or 3%. Yeah,
I am not a numbers person. I can find the numbers, I write it down. You know what I mean? Feels like getting it's all
14.8 million housing units.
14 million. There we go.
California.
Thank you, Rachel.
Mhm.
How about we talk to the action?
This is no expense. California has
the preview store.
Wouldn't want to wait there.
That's what it's got.
Yeah.
took out all the colonies.
150 to 180,000 vacant housing units currently.
So that is let's say yes.
I have to. I don't remember.
That's already house. Thousand, so. So fill up that 2 million, it's definitely higher. $1,000 even if it's a lot of so what is surprising with how it's as house that they have a lot of probably
Yeah. Homelessness is also a struggle. Do you think there's anything else we can do from the legislature, specifically this month? Like,
I'm not too familiar. It's not a thing that I dealt with, but one thing I've heard from the representative was, and he made sense, was the problem is that we don't know how to deal with the different protect the having chronic. They'll actually get a lot of homeless people that are on drugs, right?
right?
Our problem going down is low homeless people that are having issues and feel like they're not crazy. That help them out. So I mean, knowing that, that wouldn't be a bad thing first. To at least by additional classification.
You think it's more of a justice system issue?
Yeah. Now, I don't really usually at houses. A lot of times that are on the ice. They don't have actually. It seems like that's a lot. Only for so legislation law. No, that's your maybe have legislation first to properly classify things as drug sentences. Second, which would we have?
Yeah, for sure. Well, here's another bit of a rabbit hole.
It's a little bit cooler in here than it is outside.
Do you make it illegal, or do you stand up for on that is do you think that that could play into some of the drug-related homelessness issues?
When I was in there, I was actually open to try to take it out of food. That I was taking approach. Pretty like up to the actually I don't because people brain waiting for that days and I feel it will be better to discourage people from for itself. For example, marijuana. They study something like if you're taking an unintended drug, it's illegal. Teas and I don't know if I did it illegal or something, but I definitely push it up.
Do you think that that would actually make a difference to having homelessness? And I guess same with drinking. And I'm coming from the perspective of as a young person who is not old enough to legally drink. I don't, right? But people, uh, it comes up all the time in people's response during this video, but that never stops anymore.
That's true. I never stop it, but it's still just it makes me close and close. I mean, I definitely go
Probably not the best time to share stories.
so I think it would help with that, but then it's just a barrier that reduces the chance.
Right.
Some people actually. I mean, people are still do it. Put space out.
Well, and I suppose you can apply that same uh, bit of a conflict. We talked about with abortion, right? If we were to completely ban abortion across the board, it would
Yeah.
it would but the vast majority of the abortions that we have wouldn't happen because of the exception. And that's where I kind of draw the line. Is even if you add an entire age group, it's still right in the same way that makes it so easy to be. Uh, I personally think the stance that anytime we rely on any sort of president or even anything other than God, you are just going to be kind of going down the road of things. That's not a great way to put it, but um, I think if you look for search to find a savior in anything other than because you got it. It's never gonna happen.
That's a good point. I myself am not for this, but I do. So you're saying people start reading drugs and substance.
Well, and I would say if you look at the problems that people turn to things like alcoholism, things like uh, yeah, yeah, it's hard. Okay, feeling adequate, these sort of or depression. Most people don't just fall into addiction. Oh, life is very great. Let me take a break. Right? Usually, when I talk to people, I'm not really good. There's uh, dissatisfaction with the life. I don't know. Would you agree with that?
I don't know. I've never had that experience. I think the biggest thing about what we're saying thankful they're around sort of like recently I found really satisfaction. And I agree with you. I think believing in something greater and would be some extra. It's your energy.
I would say there's people in intrinsic value, right? Because when I believe that every single person I interact with is made in the image of God, that just gives people an intrinsic sense of value and worth. So much so that I don't think we can find that or drive that person to why this is John Williams style. And I think that rather than building up the value of people, decrease the value. This is kind of a rabbit trail, but this has been a great conversation. Are there any other major policy points? Or, no, any big conversation?
Very I feel like I could always talk on
Oh yeah, why don't you talk about that? You haven't told us a whole lot about who is Clinton. Oh, why should people vote for you? What is that?
so well I grew up but I grew up in New York. I was living but my mom is from like no, I was walking. I live in San Francisco for I met many great people there.
So I'm just there right now. I can see it.
I came back to Montana. I want to get back. So that's how I ended, I guess, from the immigration part. Yeah, my personal experience. How you could say, everyone, diversity. I live in East Orange. Right.
Well, maybe I'll stop by later.
Hours. Civil War. Go ahead. So,
Oh, there you go.
set up the mission. And they started people from the area and it got hot. So, it caused conflict. Now, I'm not going to go too much detail with it. There's so many factors that by talking about factors. So it's just and then we had Syria occupancy. Probably looking so you get an idea, but I'm bringing a lot of people. You have an idea.
Yeah, I with it's always your bad, right? These are awesome.
What's that? So these things. And I can tell you from the really good story that
So you kind of define that there being a difference between immigration and poetry about immigration on basic.
right. Yeah, I think that would be good. Yeah. Here's just what we are. How are you?
Sure. Well, with that, we're gonna great conversation. Let's give us like one more. Why should people vote?
Also needed to taxes and also
Main 3 points, not 3 points.
lower taxes, deal with immigration. So constitutional.
There we have it. All right, and just wanted to remind you that this amazing business has been put together by Susan Chris with Voyages super sweet. I love Susan Chris. It is my favorite thrift story. So definitely check it out. I also believe a lot of the stuff that you see on set, like the cable and stuff, is like the doc. There's a lot of discussion. If you like what you see, definitely go check out my social thrift store. And also, I don't have too many people watching on the live right now, but keep an eye on it because we're going to continue to have people come up and talk. Clinton was my first victim, but we're hoping to have some conversations with people here, with the families visiting us there. I personally would love to get some maybe kids and young adults on podcast. I love hearing thoughts of the younger generation. That's just so cool part. So stay tuned.